I think we kind of wanted to start with, just tuning in and seeing if you got a chance to watch, are you a jackhammer or a hummingbird video, a video that I posted earlier on this morning on my Facebook. Just give me a yes if you've watched it, or a no if you have not watched it. And if you have,
awesome. If you have, we'd love to know who do you identify with. And we are going to jump into it. If you haven't seen it, you're not missing out on anything because we'll go through it with you.
Well, you are. But we've got you covered. We've got you covered.
We've got you covered. And
you're awesome, Penny. So what did you identify with? Was it a jackhammer or a hummingbird? I will say that the hummingbirds definitely outweighed the jackhammers.
They did.
And if you're kind of like thinking, well, what the hell has this got to do with following your soul and the nudges and living an extraordinary life? It literally shapes your entire experience of how you create your life by design and creating money and impact and time freedom and all that sexy stuff that we're all about. Hummingbird. Jackhammer. Love it, Penny. Awesome. So for those of you that missed it, we're just going to give you a really quick recap.
High level overview.
Yeah.
And I think too, for both of us, like when we first heard this, it made such a difference because Alex is very clearly a jackhammer and I'm very clearly a hummingbird, and our paths through business and creating the same thing and having the same soul mission has been really different. So we want to start with sharing this with you, and then we'll bring it in all together. So regardless of whether you're a jackhammer or a hummingbird, when you've got those nudges talking to you, you know exactly what to do with it, because it can sound very different.
Yes, awesome. So high level, jackhammer is exactly that, a jackhammer. So jackhammers are solely focused on one thing and one thing only. Typically a lot of leaders identify themselves as jackhammers, and they tend to identify themselves as quite mission orientated, laser focused, with that conviction, that certainty, one lane, one game, nothing comes between me and my vision and where I'm going and my mission. And so for me, I identify with myself as a jackhammer for so long, but what I found is, and we're going to go into the hummingbird for a second, but what I found is over time, it was quite limiting. And I found that I was boxing myself in by pigeonholing myself on, this is the way I raise vibration of humanity and this is the only way I do it. And I am not open to anything else, kind of like a horse with his blinkers on, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain what
and
hummingbird is, my little hummingbird? Okay.
And for me, like being a hummingbird, it was like the journey or the path to where I am now, to where I own my finance brokerage, was, if looking at the time, it was quite confusing. It was like I was constantly searching for something and I was constantly seeking for something. And it was literally like I was Cinderella looking for the right shoe to fit on my foot.
Oh, and that's really cute. She loves her metaphors.
Love my metaphors. And if you're a hummingbird, you'll identify with this. So like my path, I've been in coaching for 6 years. I've been in hospitality. I've been in insurance. I've been in general insurance as well. I've done sales. I've done pretty much, like, if you can list it,
She's
I can
done
almost
some
guarantee.
Stuff that she's not going to mention here either, but we'll keep
Not
that
sure
down.
who's watching. Private groups get that information. But essentially what I'm trying to communicate here is, as a hummingbird, there were so many things that I've tried on where they were almost like quite right fits, but never quite the right fit, until I came across the finance brokerage. And the further down the hummingbird path I went, the more I learned what my true soul values were, which is self-expression, growth, or actually self-expression, epic relationships, growth, teaching, and learning. And as long as I was continuously looking for something that would fulfill those 5 values, the moment I found it, which is when I fell into the finance brokerage, I kept getting these nudges saying, leave coaching, go full-time finance. And I'm like, sounds fucking crazy. But when I did, it all started to unravel because it was the right shoe that fit. And that's the thing with hummingbirds, is that we need to give ourselves permission to try on the shoes.
And before we go any further into the more deliciousness, we'd love to ask you, knowing that high level definition of jackhammer versus hummingbird, what do you identify with? What resonates? What resonates with you? Pop it in the comments. We'd love to know. so we can sort of calibrate to who's watching. And for those of you that are showing so much love and saying hello, we love you so much. We're not going to stop and say hello to each individual person, but hello, and thank you so much for joining us. So give us a comment, guys. Hummingbird or jackhammer. Please comment.
Yeah,
so Diana's a hummingbird. Awesome,
and even the comments that Alex got on the video today were really beautiful. There was a lot of hummingbirds really connecting with it, saying, oh, like, thank you for giving me permission not to feel shameful about the different things I've explored. And that's the really cool thing about this, is that as a hummingbird, knowing you will eventually find the shoe that fits, and everything you've done before eventually all beautifully fits into one piece, and you look back and you're like, of course I went down all those paths, and letting go of that shame.
Yeah, and like I guess for jackhammers it's a bit different, because it's like for me, I just kind of like woke up, so to speak, three years and 10 months ago, and it was like game on, right? There was no hummingbird. So yeah, okay, cool. And so you're probably wondering, loving the comments, awesome. I think we've definitely got a more slanted towards hummingbirds. And this is awesome. It's very fitting. So you're probably wondering, like, what does this have to do with following your soul's calling, right? So
we're so glad you asked.
We're really glad you asked. Who would love to know? So here's the thing, even if you feel like you found your thing, you found your purpose, you found your business vehicle, whatever it is, and you've got it working, sometimes your soul will ask more of you. Yeah. It's going to ask you to commit even more, to be more courageous, to be bolder, to serve humanity on a greater scale. And have you ever experienced this, guys? Have you ever sort of experienced that nudge where something's trying to come through and it doesn't logically make any sense, so you keep ignoring it? And this is why I called the live. The universe will either tickle you with a feather or punch you in the face. Are you listening? So give me a yes if you have had that experience where that soul is nudging you to do something, to serve better, to potentially explore a different aspect to you, but it doesn't make any logical sense. How am I going to make money from it? How am I going to serve? How does this make any logical sense? Yes, for sure. Amazing. Awesome.
And you know, it's funny that you say that, Alex, because we've been sitting in this space, and even with the brokerage, it's great. It's working. Like I don't need to take on anything else. And you know, the nudge that I've been having coming through, and as a hummingbird, it's a little bit scary, because I finally found that thing that I can jackhammer it away, and it feels really good, and I feel so great having this mission and this purpose for the first time ever, and it all working. But there's been this other nudge coming through, and it started off really quietly, and it's gotten louder and louder, and it's stop hiding behind the brokerage. Oof. You were here to serve at such a greater level. That's great, and yes, you're making really awesome impact, and you're aligning with great leaders, but we want more from you. You're so much more qualified than writing finance. So get in the game. So this is where this nudge has come from, and I've sat here for 6 months being like, oh, I don't know, and it's been all the excuses. Not the right time, and
I can hire another person first. I can do this.
Yeah, and if I just focus that energy into the brokerage, but the nudge, like it's been knocking that hard that I haven't been able to ignore it anymore. And I know you've been really similar.
Yeah, and that's not to say that sometimes, like, please get that soul or infinite intelligence or God or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't know time and space. It has no concept of time. So sometimes we do have to use discernment. You know, we've been sitting with this for 6 months and over, but we've had to use discernment. Is it now? Is it now? Is it now? But what we've realized is it now is going to just keep continuing. And there's always going to be something. For me, the way this showed up, the nudges was full transparency. You know, there's been an opportunity where we're like this business vehicle, and this is where the lifestyle finance has birthed. And full transparency, for me, it's been, holy shit. Like, yes, I want to do this. Yes, I'm dreaming about it. Yes, I know I'm going to be able to impact more. But my fear was, what if I go into this and people judge me? Or, you know, and so I wasn't doing this out of a scarcity, out of a contracted energy of, what if people think I'm jumping ship and giving up on my coaching business? What if What if I lose my reputation as a transformational coach and a manifestation coach? The thing that I put my blood, sweat, and tears in for 4 years, and what, I'm just gonna do this other business vehicle on the side? Like, fuck no. And oh my God, what about I'm gonna confuse my market? How am I even gonna post about this and post value about this? People are gonna be like, hang on, Alex, I thought you were a manifestation coach. What are you doing now? And so there was all this like fear of judgment and all this crap that clouded my ability to just follow my soul bang on straight away. And when it really started landing for me was, so I do all my calls. I speak to so many people a week. I book in a chat to see even how I can help them. And one in every two, so 50% of the people I talk to don't have a business vehicle. And this is when I started going, really interesting that when I get a call, when someone says, yes, I've got an online business, whether it's affiliate marketing, MLM, their own coaching business, something online, my heart, my soul lights up because I'm like, yes, awesome, I can help you. Now let's talk about how. Let's talk about if it's in alignment. And then I thought to myself, really interesting how 50% of the people I'm talking to, I literally like, yes, of course, I can give them like manifestation tools and all that, but most of my programs and products are specifically designed for people with online businesses wanting to create more time freedom, more money, more impact. So it kind of feels like, wow, like, and so my nudge was, you know, cool, awesome. And if I'm really here to raise vibration of humanity, then get over yourself, and how about provide the 50% of your tribe that don't have a business vehicle or currently have a business vehicle that feel like they're just another rat in a different race because they're having to wear all the hats. They're the marketer, they're the product delivery, they're the coach, they're the salesperson, they're the accounts person, they're the content creator, they're the video person, and not everyone has that. And so for me, it was really about getting over myself, and this other tangent, my hummingbirdness, was actually leading to the same thing. It was raising the vibration of humanity, because I truly believe when you give some people the opportunity to get out of scarcity and me, and how am I going to pay the rent, and how am I going to put food on the table for my kids, and how am I going to pay for school fees and all these bills, and we get out of that contracted dense energy of me survival, and we can come into more expanded energy, and there's more money and there's more flowing through. Eventually you'll understand that we all have the same mission. When you chunk it up and you've got money flowing, I promise you will feel called deeply on a soul level to do more humanitarian projects. So why not swallow my pride and provide a business vehicle that I back 100%, and I've seen so many people have so much success over to the tribe, currently in my tribe, that are struggling, that are still, you know, not making ends meet. Yeah. Is that making sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
You got super fired on that, didn't I?
It's true though, but like, even I saw it, like, and this is the other reason why I've been sitting on the fence with it, because if I didn't have the brokerage, and this came before that, I would have been full steam ahead on it, because it provided the opportunity for me to do the things that I love, like the sales. I get to do cool copywriting, I get to connect with people, I get to create community, I get to create tribe, I get to work with leaders. That all the things that I naturally love doing, but I don't have to do any of the things that I hate. Like, I don't have to do all the techie crap and all the other bits and pieces that when I was running my own coaching business just literally sucked the life right out of me. It literally, like, the same, I guess, magic formula that's what I love about the brokerage exists in this too. So when I saw the opportunity of this, I kept getting those nudges of, hey, you can do that and serve even greater, and really step into that place of what you're really here to do.
And I think as well, if any jackhammers are watching this, one thing that profoundly stood out for me was what I'm really excited about is I actually haven't, and if someone's watching you and saying, actually, Alex, that's me, I actually haven't seen, let's say, I'm just going to say like a successful 7-figure coach that has made that, like, it's got a working business vehicle and it's well oiled and it's doing really, really well. I haven't seen any of those people actually go into this business model. I've only seen them jump ships, and that's where my shame came from. So the reason that I share this, they've literally given up on their coaching business or pushed it aside or parked it and made this happen. And that's what I was like, oh, it's got to be one or the other. No, it doesn't. Why? And so if any jackhammer is listening to this right now, I want this to give you permission to explore some of your hummingbird qualities, and to give this to give you permission to potentially, if there is any righteousness or judgment or shame of, if I explore another option, will people not take me seriously? Am I going to damage my reputation or my brand that I am known for? No, you absolutely not. As long as it's aligned to your soul's vision, and as long as you are actually, when you chunk it up, you're meeting the same mission, absolutely not, right? It's just greater reach. And not to mention, what if 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you wanted to travel the world and switch off for 12 months, or have a baby and work less? Without you, jackhammer, the business doesn't work. You've got to show up. You're the product deliverer. You're the one at the live events. You're the one at the webinars. You're the content creator. You're the brand. You can't, there's only so much you can leverage. You've got to do the retreats. You've got to be there. So what if you wanted to fuck off hands free for a while? What happens? Does income stop? And this is where I started thinking, if I truly get to create life by design, where do I want to be when I'm 45? Right? And it starts now. Is this making sense, you guys? Give me a yes if this is making sense.
Yeah. And I think that's the space where we've sat in a lot, like the last 6 months, in terms of really creating our life by design of, how do we want to live? What kind of a legacy do we want to lead? And when we started asking these questions, this is where these nudges started coming through, and we're like, oh, I don't know about taking on like another business. I don't know about taking on extra responsibility. I don't know, when your soul talks to you, the shit is going to come up, and you're going to have to face off with every single reason why you can't, until you do the one thing, which is our greatest lesson of 2019, is surrender to your soul's guidance. And at the beginning, you don't even have to commit like all balls in. You can actually just be curious.
Start having the dialogue. Meditate on it.
Meditate. Explore. Ask some questions. Get some information.
Loving all the love, guys. Thank you.
Ease your way into it. You don't have to go,
that's it, I'm quitting my job.
I'm out.
Yeah, right. No, that's not what we're saying.
That's not. So the biggest thing with this is the biggest thing of like what to do when that feather starts tickling you, so you don't get punched in the face with a feather, as Alex so eloquently said.
Punch in the face. Yeah.
Punch in the
Not
face.
with a feather.
Not with a feather. With a But when that comes, is when those nudges come through, give yourself permission to have the curiosity to explore it, to follow it. You don't have to commit. The commitment to surrendering is surrendering to the curiosity. And often once you start taking those first few steps, before you know it, the whole thing just magically unravels.
I find it really fitting as well that 2019 for me was all about releasing control even more and surrendering to my soul, like even more. And interestingly enough, I've literally transitioned from a jackhammer more into a hummingbird this last 6 to 8 months, especially because the more control I release, the more I surrender to my soul, the more I get to explore other parts of me that allows me to be self-expressed. It allows me to serve humanity in ways I never thought possible. What? You mean I get to create music now and I get to raise vibration through music? What? I get to dance, I get to sing. And now, like, there's all, and if I had that unresourceful masculine energy of that certainty and that control that I wanted to grasp onto and that manufactured stuff, and not truly surrender to the flow and magic that's wanting to birth through me and create, then I would not be open to this at all. So if any of this has intrigued you at all, guys, at all, if you're starting to get a nudge to play a bigger game, to serve more, or potentially you're just simply curious, what we've said yes to, come and join us. We'd love to have you on our masterclass. It's this Monday. We've got 90 minutes of jam-packed fun and value and tools and processes that we're going to take you through.
Yeah, all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, all sorts of cool stuff. We're going to be pulling back the curtains on what we've said yes to and revealing all of it as well. Yeah. So Monday, 1 p.m, Melbourne time. We're going to pop the registration link somewhere in the comments. And to the jackhammers, give yourself permission to follow your curiosity.
Yeah, and to my hummingbirds, let yourself explore, let yourself have fun, follow your curiosity, follow your excitement, because it will lead to your truest path.
And release the pressure of finding your purpose.
Yeah,
Just
it'll
scrap that off
find
for a
you.
bit.
If you follow your excitement, it will find you.
Love it. Drop us a comment what you've loved most about this live, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're off to cook dinner. Mwah.